starts. They've threatened to do that, but with the Grandhomme there and there as well now, I mean, it looks a strong batting lineup, doesn't it, now?
Yeah, it is. And even before you arrived, I still thought we had quite a solid engine room in the middle there with guys that have played quite a bit of cricket now. Lewis, James Fuller, Joe Weatherly now has been playing for a few years, and you're looking for those guys to step up to the plate at some point. So not only will Colin bring that, but I still think we have still quite a good engine room, which is lacking runs. It goes without saying. You can see it on paper. 150 out of our completed games is just not enough. You look at other teams, Surrey, Middlesex, 6-7 50s through the competition, and you need that one batsman to kick on and get a 70 or an 80, which we just haven't quite got yet.
Yeah. Emily, you played T20 for the Vipers last Saturday. Good win up at the Sparks. But T20 cricket on the whole, if you're not opening and you're not coming in number 3, how difficult is it coming in sort of 5, 6 and 7?
Do you know what, actually, we played a warm-up game the game before. In the second game of the day, we changed our order, so our openers came in at 5 and 6, and they actually went, I don't appreciate how hard it is coming in to get, because when you're in, a lot of the time, you've got to get going straight away. You don't have time on your side. Sometimes your team's in a difficult situation, and sometimes you have to adapt. So it is tough, but those players are more than capable of doing it and have done that throughout their career. It's not like they've been opening previously and they're now being shoved down there, and they know that role. That is their role. They'd be training for that role, and as I said earlier, it just takes one good innings and then things sink into place as a player. And I think hopefully we can see that today, if not just from one player, maybe a couple of players step up here.
So we are about 4 minutes away from getting this game underway here at the GS Bowl. Just a reminder, Hampshire have won the toss, and it is Surrey that is going to bat first here this evening. Hampshire starting this game in last place in the South Group, Surrey in 4th. 4 teams from both the North and the South Group qualify for the quarter-finals later on this summer. We'll bring in Mark Church in a moment, but Carl, just very quickly, just talk about one player, I guess, that really stands out for me and maybe most people this evening. Kyle Jamieson in the Surrey lineup. What do you know about him? I mean, he's not just a tall, good, fast bowler. In this stuff, he can hit the ball as well, can't he?
Yeah, he proved that just the other night. I think he was striking at about 200. He got his 30 off not so many balls. Yeah, I actually played against him back in 2019 in New Zealand when I was there for the T20. And yeah, obviously seen a lot of him on TV, and his Test career has got off to an outstanding start and played a huge role in winning the championship here just last week. So yeah, an exciting one to look out for tonight. We narrowly missed out on him to sign him here this summer. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't go too well against us tonight.
I heard the story, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Hampshire did want him, and he's apparently turned around and said, well, I'll be a bit tired after the World Test Championship. And then Surrey went and spoke to him, and he said, oh, all right, then I'll play. Is that true?
I'm going to reserve comments on that, Jamer, but you're not wrong.
We'll ask Mark Church. Emily, thank you for the moment. Emily will be back shortly, but let's bring in Mark Church, the BBC Radio London commentator and a long-time Surrey commentator as well, because I know he'll have enjoyed stealing a player under the nose of Hampshire. Now, the applause you can hear is for the 2 umpires making their way out to the middle. In fact, I'll just check who is who, because I think one of them might be Ian Gould. I saw Ian Gould standing out there earlier. Maybe he's the 3rd umpire. I don't know. We'll check in a moment. But Mark Church has just come in.
One was definitely Gunner, unmistakable figure.
He's Gunner, yeah. I know. You could just see the way he walks and his body language. Mark Church, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Lovely to see you as always.
I saw you smiling when we were talking about the Carl Jamieson situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got no idea, but he's turned up. He's turned up in London. I think he's probably got a nice flat. And is enjoying the sights of London at the moment. Actually, I say that, he's only been there for 1 game. We were saying it'd have been better off staying here, really, because he played that Test final, obviously here tonight and then back for the championship game. I mean, he could have kept his room, couldn't he, in the hotel? But no, he gave it a right old whack last night with the bat. So he's massive as well, isn't he? He's a huge fella, isn't he? Absolutely massive. So he's an exciting guy for for Surrey to have, and I suppose Hampshire get to see him tonight and get to see him on Sunday.
Just very quickly, because we're about to start, Mark, not surprised that Surrey are in chains from last night, even though they lost by that narrow margin?
Yeah, no, I think the only one I wondered might come in is Mr. Amler for someone, just at the top of the order, but Hash has only played the one game so far this season, and has only faced the one ball actually, so they're going again. There is a change at the top though, because Rory Burns opened last night with Will Jacks, but it's Jamie Smith with Will Jacks this evening.
Thank you very much. Right, we're just about to get underway then. It's going to be Colin de Grandon with his right arm medium pacers from the pavilion end. Hampshire in their familiar luminous yellow tops with dark blue trousers. Surrey with a 10, what is it, that light blue?
Duck egg blue.
Yeah, duck egg blue. With dark trousers as well. So here's de Grandon then. Bowls the first delivery. And he's baiting outside the off stump is Will Jacks. And that goes through to Lewis McManus. A little bit of swing was there, perhaps?
Looked like a little bit, and a little bit of nip back off the seam there. Interesting field here. He's gone with the 2 out on either side, deep square and cover point, with third man fine leg up, obviously with not a bowl of not great pace. They're not expecting too much to go behind the wicket.
Joe Weatherly is at first slip as de Grandon runs towards us and bowls. It's a length ball. He gets wrapped on the pad this time. Half shout, mainly from behind the stumps from McManus and Weatherly, and there is no run.
Yeah, Will Jacks has been in good form this season. I quite like it though when he has a look. At Lords, he just went from ball 1. But if he could bat for 10, 15 overs, I don't know what he'd get. It would be something monumental, to be honest with you.
Over 250 runs in this year's competition already as de Grandon bowls, and he steers that into the gap square on the offside. So Surrey are underway. There'll only be a single. Now, just going back to the crowd we mentioned earlier, of course, crowds aren't as big as we would normally expect for T20 because there's still restrictions around and what have you. So we have tonight a mixture of members and what they call passport holders, which are people that will have bought tickets for all of the home games. Anybody else basically isn't allowed in this evening. So it is a reduced crowd, although it's a fairly healthy symmetry. As de Grandon comes in again and Jacks gets wrapped on the pad, they'll take a quick leg by. And that is a quick one as Prest comes in. Is that Tom Prest? It is. He's got a number. Tom Prest has finally been given a number card.
He's been finally given a number, and he's trying to copy de Grandon's hairstyle there. It looks like he's also just going for the flowing mullet out the back, which for whatever reason stumps me sometimes why it's in fashion. But
it was.
It was. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him bat Tom Prest this evening. I've heard a lot about him, caught glimpses of him with the second team, but looking to see quite a bit.
He's a mini-me, isn't he, de Grandon? Now it's hit over the top, over mid-on, and chases on for Scott Curry up towards the far end. It's plugged in the outfield, will be picked up 3 or 4 yards inside the rope at the far end of the ground, and Jacks will pick up a couple, and the Surrey total will move on to 4 without loss. He is a mini-me, Colin de Grandon, you're right, from this distance.
From this distance, almost a splitting image. So, listen, if he can hit the ball half as well as Colin and have the career he has, he's going to be one hell of a cricketer.
That's for sure. Looking forward to seeing this guy bowl as that's turned away to Prest, and there is no run. There's a good accurate start from de Grandon, just 4 runs off it.
Yeah, good opening over there. Not much width given at all, except for that one that was played out to deep point. But nice and tight. Even that one that was played over the top was a good enough length that not quite there to get underneath and just sort of plugged in the outfield. But yeah, great start. You're going to take that up front, and Chris Wood from our end here coming with a load of experience, and under these conditions, he might just get the ball to swing a bit.
What's going to be interesting is Surrey like chasing. They didn't chase terribly well last night, but that is their game plan, is to chase. So what target they're not great at setting a target. That's the thing. I was just wondering, as Chris Wood will bowl our first ball from this hotel end, comes left arm over the wicket to Jamie Smith, who has a nibble at one, which goes away from him, and it's into the gloves of McManus. I was just wondering whether Vikram Solanki might have thought about putting a total on the board, on the whiteboard, and said, just pretend you're chasing that, lads, because that might be the way to set the target. But their game plan has been chase with their 3 spinners with big boundaries, which is exactly what we've got tonight. As Wood is in over the wicket to Smith, bit of swing there as Smith's forward, plays this one into the leg side, gets a single. Prest comes up to do the fielding, and one more. So that's interesting that again here massive boundaries, and the 3 Surrey spinners will play a big part tonight, I would have thought, and running between the wickets will be key as well.
Be interesting to see how this wicket plays, wouldn't it, really, with all the rain we've had recently?
Yeah, and just judging on the Sri Lankan T20 the other day, which nibbled around a bit, it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, just adding on there, I think the team that runs well tonight, especially with the slow outfield, I think are going to be in the game the most here than just trying to hit boundaries. As that one's played off legs out to deep square, Brad Wheel does the fielding and one bounce into Lewis McManus.
Yeah, we saw it last night with Surrey. Pope's absolutely rapid between the wickets. Burns rapid between the wickets. And as I say, back in South London, it's been knock it into the gap, tear, run, try and run sides ragged. So I think for both sides tonight, and 22 months is it, you said, JMO, since Hampshire have been here. As forward goes Jamie Smith, drives out into the offside. A little bit of shape again there for Chris Wood. Just a single out towards James Fuller, who's sweeping out on that cover boundary rope. 22 months
with
since the crowd in.
T20.
Amazing.
T20.
Amazing, isn't it? Well, it's terrific to be back, I have to say. And then, of course, back on Sunday, watching this gentleman way to my left.
Yeah, the Red Bulls back out on Sunday against Surrey.
As in, over the wicket comes Wood, and forward goes Jacks, pushing this one up to the Grandhomme. He's up there at mid-on. It's great to see the hair live, I have to say. I've only seen it on, and mine, it's getting there.
Yeah, you're not far off.
No, not at all. They are back. The mullet is back.
Is it?
Oh, without a doubt. But Mr. de Grandhomme pulls it off quite magnificently. So to see it live is very, very special. Stood down there at mid-on at the moment as Wood is in to Jacks. Jacks drives, that bounces on him and goes past the edge and into the gloves of McManus. There's a little bit there for the bowlers. And Kyle Abbott, I think Hampshire will be encouraged by these first couple of overs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great to see the lines and length that they've bowled here so far. As you said, definitely just a little bit happening there, as any new ball you would expect, and the weather we've had the last couple of days is certainly going to help here. How long that lasts, we'll soon see. And also when the batsmen, as you said, get in a little bit and start to take a risk, how Hampshire are going to adapt to that. Will they stick to that length, or will they change up straight away? Is always interesting to see.
The Grandhomme to Smith, and that's whipped away in the air through mid-wicket, and again the ball's plugged in the outfield somewhat. It won't go all the way to the rope. It's cut off. I think that's Brad Wheel down there, who does terrifically well, almost touching the rope as he throws the ball back, and he's kept it down to what, 2? Is that 2?
I think they got through for 3 there. It's a big section of the ground out there.
Actually, it's quite big boundaries all round, isn't it, tonight? 30-yard circle, and I guess to the left it's at least 60, probably 65 in most places.
Definitely get your 10,000 steps in here, won't you?
Will.
No doubt about that.
10 without loss then. And we're in the third over here. De Grandhomme from the pavilion end bowls, and that's whipped away in the same area. But it's a little bit closer this time to Brad Wheel. It's very noticeable how the ball is just stopping on the outfield, isn't it? Just a single this time.
Yeah, that's probably 2 boundaries at least in the last 3 overs that have just plugged in and not gone all the way. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of score Surrey are going to post here. And Churchy, as you said, not a team that likes to set. I think this might throw a little bit of confusion into them. That
I think
they're not seeing the umpire do their exercises, and now they're going to have to do a bit of running. So. Yeah, and as there's a change in the field, Press drops out to mid-wicket where those last 2 balls have gone. De Grandhomme's in. He's given himself room to try access that cover, and straight to Brad Wheel and a dot ball.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because even in the other games where Surrey have batted first, they've got off to flyers. You know, Roy and Jacks up top, Jackson Smith up top, even Burns and Jacks last night. You know, Burns got off to a flyer. Here, though, already, haven't had a boundary yet. We're in the 3rd over.
11 without
you
loss.
Feel like something's just going to happen quite soon.
The Grandhomme comes in, and that's whipped away over wide mid-on. That may go all the way. That's hit a little bit harder. Even again, the ball's just sort of plugged in the outfield, but out the middle of the bat there from Jamie Smith, and that's the first boundary of the evening. Sorry, move on to 15 without loss.
Good shot from Jamie Smith. Good shot down the ground.
I was just looking at the times that Surrey have batted first in this competition. 175 for 7 at Hove, where you were 1 ball away from playing a game.
Wow.
Apparently, I heard
didn't go down very well in Hove.
No. Here's de Grandhomme, bowls again, and that's tucks a fine. That's going all the way. That's going to be 4 runs. A little bit too straight there from Colin de Grandhomme, and Smith will benefit by 4, and he'll move on to 13, and it's 19 without loss. Surrey batted first against Somerset when they lost at the Oval, 146 for 8. They also, you had a no result at the Oval against Sussex, wasn't it? 53 for 2. 223 for 7 in the first game when you beat Middlesex by 54 runs at Lords.
Yeah, that was Jax's 70 off 20 balls, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was
That was
ridiculous.
televised, I remember watching
it was
that.
an extraordinary start.
The grand on to Smith once more. Smith gives himself some room, and it's past the diving point, and that I think is going to go all the way to the rope. Yes, it is past the diving Brad wheel. Nicely timed there from Smith, and he moves on to 17, 23 without loss. Sorry, good over for the visitors here.
Yeah, very good over. Probably just that last ball that was a bit wide from the ground home, getting cut out to that deep point where they've just brought the field up. But the other two fours came nice and straight, where he's got his 2 men out. You can't complain too much about that. It's very tough in a power play with only 2 guys out. So won't be too disappointed with that. As I said, maybe just the last ball.
Yeah,
But no, carry on.
No, I've just looked at my stats here. You talking about the games that Surrey batted first, and Jack 65 against Somerset of 42 balls opening, and then Smith 57 opening against Sussex at Hove. So one of the 2 openers is Jack Smith. Has always made a big contribution at the top of the order. Brad Wheels into the attack from the hotel end, and Will Jacks flicks this one off his hip, just drifted onto his hip first ball, and Will Jacks, he'll be thankful for that, just lay bat on it, whistles away down to the boundary rope for 4. I think that's 4 consecutive boundaries now for Surrey. 3 off the grand home and now 1 off Will. Jacks on to 9, and Surrey, as you said, Mr. Abbott, something was about to happen. Move on to 27 without loss.
It was too long in T20 cricket without anything happening there. It was about 13, 14 balls. But yeah, not a great start there from Brad, but he's in again and he runs away from us back of length. Oh, and it's hit him in the stomach there, I think, and as it trickles out to point and they come through for a leg by.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go big, you're going to have to go massive tonight, aren't you? You're going to have to get all of it to get it over the boundary rope, because either side, very, very long boundaries.
And soft outfield.
Absolutely.
Got to go aerial.
Yeah, even that, I've got there's a feeling of just a little bit of humidity here tonight. Everything feels thick and slow. So I reckon anything over 150, 160 is going to be pretty competitive, but it's a long way out still.
Wheels into Smith. Smith turns this one off his legs into the leg side. Should get 2 hit. Will get 2. And that'll take Jamie Smith on to 19. Surrey move on to 30 without loss.
Feels a bit more like Durban tonight, doesn't it?
Oh, Jamie, you're pushing it a little bit.
Wow.
Oh, let's go with that.
Those little close evenings.
Yeah, those close, those still ones. Yeah, just expecting a little late thunderstorm over the sea there, but we're not so lucky.
Will runs away from us, comes in over the wicket to Smith. Back of the length, Smith's up on his toes, well bowled, pushes this one into the leg side, and there's no run. It was hot and humid in the supermarket car park this afternoon as I sat there for 3 hours, having got here far too early, as usual. But no, it is, and with the lights on as well. Good crowd in. This is terrific. It's great to be back here with the crowd.
Do we reckon 1,500?
Yeah.
16,
the interesting thing is that every game I've been to, even though it's been a smaller crowd, it's felt bigger for some reason. As in over the wicket once again comes Will, and this is cut firmly by Jamie Smith straight out to the sweeper on the cover boundary rope. They'll pick up a single. 1 more to Jamie Smith. Good looking shot for 1, that from Jamie Smith. He's on to 20. Surrey move on to 31 without loss. But that game at Lords, that opener, it felt like it was full. The atmosphere that night was absolutely fantastic. 6,000, I think, were there for that one. And Surrey have had 4,000 for theirs, but all members, like here really, members in your passports. As over the wicket comes Will, and this is pulled by Jacks in the air. 1 bounce out towards deep backward square. Didn't get all of it, Will Jacks, which probably saved him in many ways. End of the over, so the boundary off the first ball of the over there from Brad Will. 4 gone, 32 without loss. Interesting start this, actually. It's a bit more like a game of chess at the moment than 2020.
It is a little bit. And I mean, judging on the first 2 overs where they got off to a sluggish start, and you made a great point about Will Jacks actually getting in, and now suddenly they're up at 8 and over. And you only need 2 good overs now, and you're looking at 50, 45, 50 in the power play. in pretty difficult conditions at the moment, and you're suddenly thinking, well, that's not too bad.
Woods in and bowls, and that's pushed just backward of point. Oh my word, there's a horrible bit of fielding. Brad Wheel, oh dear, it's gone straight through his hands and it's gone for 4. I think actually in the end, just as the ball came to him, he was worried about his feet, wasn't he? He was worried about making sure he had a firm footing on the outfield, and in the end he was concentrating on them and not the ball.
The last ball of Brad Wheel's over that went out to deep square in the same area to Darcy Short also just came in, and it looks like he didn't get much traction under his shoes there. So, that's never a good feeling. It's happened to all of us.
36 without loss, and that's whipped away and past a dive into Grandom. I think he might have got half a hand on it and just taken a little bit of pace off it. And round is James Fuller, and the batsman will complete 2 and takes the Surrey total on to 38 without loss. We're in the 5th over here at the Ageas Bowl. It's a bit like Wimbledon, isn't it? Watching these players slip. There's a few days, a bit like talk at Wimbledon about players slipping. Now we've got it here as well. What's going on? Should be playing on synthetic matting. He's whipped that away. That's gone fine. That's past the Grandon. Well past his right hand. That's going for 4. A little bit too straight there from Chris Wood. Surrey move on to 42. They're moving along here quite nicely after the first 2 overs. Only went for 7.
Yeah, I think these two have done pretty well so far. I think they've had a look. That's what we talked about right at the top. I think they've worked out quite quickly. Yeah. We're not going to be able to smack this out of the park from ball 1. So, yeah, from the 2 young men at the top of the order, they've worked this one out pretty quickly, I think.
So both batsmen have 20 as Wood comes in again, and he's whipped that away off the top edge. Has gone down towards third man. Mason Crane is after it, won't get there. Dives. All in vain in the end. He's gone for a huge mow on the leg side, Jacks. Gets a big top edge, and that's gone for 4 more. 24 he's moved on to. 46 without loss. Slightly worrying for Hampshire now, all of a sudden.
It's just got a little bit leaky in the last sort of 2.5 overs, but as we were saying, the Surrey batsmen have had some time now to have a look, and without a wicket down, you feel like they are going to take a few more risks as they get towards the end of this power play, as Woods in and beats the outside edge. It goes through to Lewis McManus. But I don't want to harp on this too long because, we spoke about it earlier about the batsmen giving themselves time and having a look at conditions. And in those first sort of 12 to 14 balls, all it was the 2 bowlers bowling a good line and length and the batsman playing good cricket shots. And I still think there's time for those fundamental basics in T20 cricket. As Wood comes in again to us, Jacks blocks into their covers and they get a single through. Darcy Short does the fielding. And I just feel that there is still time for that, and I feel like sometimes the youngsters get so caught up in seeing things on TV and almost like a highlights package where they actually don't see the basics. And you can revert back to 4-day cricket so much in T20, and I'm so glad that these 2 youngsters have seen it. Then those first 2 overs, we just negotiated it, and suddenly from Hampshire, 2 overs in a power play is already a third of it, to going at nearly 9.5 tenure. Surrey are probably going to end up winning the power play.
Absolutely, and I think with Will Jacks as well, he is so talented, but I think at times he gets a little carried away. I think it's fair to say if he gets off to a flyer, then he just keeps going at that pace, which is fine, and it came off at Middlesex in the game at Lords, but actually at times you need a bit of time, as Curry is into the attack and he's just whipping this one. Is Will Jacks behind square on the leg side. Darcy Short is round to do the fielding. They'll come back for 2, so Scott Curry into the attack. Will Jacks moves on to 27 and Surrey 49 without loss.
And if you're saying that he's had a look here, he's still striking at 142. Yeah. You can't ask anything more from an opening batsman.
I've honestly always thought if he could bat for 15 overs, God, dear, he'd have a total on the board. As Curry's into him and he backs away, slams this one as Jacks out towards the sweeper on the cover row. That's Fuller out there, he does the fielding. And 1 more and the 50 up, and it's been a very, very good opening partnership from Jamie Smith and Will Jacks. 50 up in the 6th over, so 50 without loss. Surrey in the power play. It's not been a typical power play, but it's been very well manufactured by these 2. Smith back onto strike on 20 as Curry's right arm over the wicket to him, and Smith pulls, doesn't really time this, and we'll get a single out towards Tom Prest, who's there at mid-wicket with his long hair as well. Mr. de Grandhomme down there at mid-on. Looking forward to seeing him bat tonight. Got off to a flyer, didn't he?
Oh, honestly, at Taunton. It was like you couldn't take your eye off him. You could not.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As in over the wicket. Again, it's Curry. Oh, Will Jacks has looked for the big one. It's gone high in the air. Here is de Gronholm, and de Gronholm takes the catch. And after we were saying how sensibly Will Jacks was playing, he's just gone for the big one there off Curry. Went straight up in the air. De Gronholm with the catch, but a good start for Surrey. Jacks goes for 28. Surrey a 51 for 1. Carl Abbott.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, he's given himself time to go in there, and with a few balls, 3 balls left in the power play, I think he had an absolute right to have a go at that. But credit to Scott Curry, he's bowled 4 balls there, pretty much back of a length, hard length, and he's forced him into creating a false shot. So all credit to the youngster who's got off to a good start this season, coming off the back of his 4 against Somerset last week. A young promising bowler for us, was definitely someone to keep your eye on.
Yeah, came in the first team last year, didn't he, in that shortened COVID season. Only 20 years of age. Did bowl well against Somerset. He bowled well in the championship game against Surrey in the second innings when he did there, but also in the second innings up at the Oval.
That's right.
Where Hampshire got whooped. But when Surrey was so dominant, he picked up decent figures there as well, didn't he? In that.
It's Jamie Smith on strike. Laurie Evans, they cross, is at the non-strikers end. Smith turns this one off his hip out towards deep backward square. Will come back for 2 more. Darcy Short does the fielding as the throw comes in, 1 bounce over the top of the stumps. It's going to sound a strange thing to say, that 28 from Will Jacks. I've seen him make 65 against Somerset. I saw him make that spectacular 70 at Lords. I've enjoyed that 28 as much as those, because I know he can do that, but I've seen him do that tonight, and that's really good. As forward comes Jamie Smith, pushes this one down towards backward point. There is no run. Well bowled Scott Curry makes the breakthrough. 6 gone. Power play done and dusted. And Surrey 53 for 1.
Quick word from Kyle Abbott, and then Emily Windsor will take my place.
Yeah, after a pretty slow start there in the power play, Surrey have really come back, and we'd have to say won that power play, especially in these conditions. Ball looked like it was quite tough to play there. So yeah, Scott Curry coming into the attack and closing out the power play nicely. But as we see Mason Crane coming in from the far end, this is going to be interesting to see if it does turn. Pitch might look a little bit tacky and a little bit slow, and on these big boundaries, as Emily said earlier in the evening in the build-up, that he could be very crucial this evening with his leg spin.
Sorry, we'll be hoping it turns with their 3 spinners. It'll be interesting this, if it is a bit tacky as you say. Sorry, won't mind seeing that.
So Mason Crane into the attack from the pavilion end, bowls to Evans. That's forward in defence, no run.
How are you, Emily?
Yeah, I'm good. What an interesting power play.
Well, interesting power play. Test match specials, very own Emily Windsor, we have to say now. It's in the contract, isn't it, now?
You're worse than me, as Crane into Evans. That's driven back to him. Another dot ball from Crane. Great start to his spell. How do you think they use Crane here today, Abbott? Do you think we'll see his 4 overs up front, or do you think they'll be split throughout?
Yeah, normally when Dawson's here, they go in tandem in this section as he bowls towards us here, and Evans is back on the back foot, and that's the 3rd dot in a row. We usually see the 2 of them bowl in tandem here in the middle, and being the only frontline spinner here, I think we'd have a look at probably at least 2, maybe 3 if he's going well, and then maybe hold him back towards the back end.
Crane to Evans again, driven up to long on this time. You pick up a single, that'll be Evans off the mark. It's taken him 4 deliveries to do that, 54 for 1. Surrey. Yeah, and do you think we'll see any of Tom Preston, his off spin here? Would he be another spin option?
I hope so. I think, again, with these big boundaries, probably the ideal time for him to get a few overs as Mason and Smith plays that one down to long on. The only thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's too many left-handers, or if any left-handers in this Surrey batting lineup, which obviously an off-spinner would be great. But there are plenty of options out there, although I would like to see him have a bowl.
Crane to Evans again. That's hit down the ground, that's hit hard. Scott Curry comes round at mid-on, does the fielding. They just pick up a single. 56 for 1. That's a fantastic over from Mason. Just 2 runs from it. That's a good start from him.
Yeah, it's also a great over straight out of a power play there. Scott Curry sets it up in the 6th over. Only 9 runs in the last 2 overs and the wickets. So just putting on the brakes a bit for Hampshire as Colin de Gronholm replaces Scott Curry from the Hotel Inn.
Yeah, you made me wrap my brains there with left hands. Rory Burns, who will
Yes.
probably come in at 5, I would have thought. So you never know. When Burns comes in at 5, he opened last night. That might be when Press comes into the attack with his off spin. And if we get down to Dan Moriarty as well, left-hander. But yeah, the Burns factor could come into play, coming in the middle order, I think. As here he is, Mr. de Grandhomme. Magnificent air. And Laurie Evans, I'll never stop saying it, Laurie Evans will be the man on strike as de Grandhomme comes in over the wicket to Laurie Evans, and Evans drives, and this one rolls out towards extra cover, and there's no run. So
Churchy,
hello.
on his hair, I have to ask, are you copying him or is he copying you here?
Well, I'm much older than him. I had the mullet in my early 20s as well, so I'd like to think he's following me as de Grandhomme is in over the wicket, and Evans turns this one into the leg side. We'll think about 2. This is good running. Jamie Smith spots how far Curry's got to come up from long on. Good running that from Smith and Evans, and Evans moves on to 4, 58 for 1. His is magnificent though. I'm surprised that Hampshire and New Zealand haven't come up with those caps with his hair out the back like you can get in other places. As de Grandhomme's in and forward goes Evans, plays this one back down the pitch. Good over this from de Grandhomme straight away. Good line, good length, getting the batsman playing down the ground. Evans on to 5. Smith comes back onto strike on 24.
How important do you think 2s are going to be here, obviously with this big playing surface?
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier. Most definitely, especially with it being slightly slower as de Grandhomme bowls, and it's driven out to deep cover, one bounce into the keeper. Especially with the ball plugging and just like a general thickness around the ground, a bit of heavy weather or just like heavy atmosphere around here. Running is going to be very important. It's going to be interesting to see at the end of the game actually who comes out with the most amount of singles and 2s.
De Grandhomme over the wicket again to Smith. Smith, slower ball, just tucks this one down the ground. This time Curry will come up to do the fielding, and it'll just be a single, but this is a very good over again from Colin de Grandhomme, backing up what Mason Crane did. So the wicket of Will Jacks for Scott Curry, then a very tight over from Mason Crane, just 3 off the over from Mason Crane, and now just 5 off this over from de Grandhomme, as this is cut beautifully by Jamie Smith. He loves that shot. Jamie Smith, pass backward point, that's going to race away for 4. It's just pure timing that from Jamie Smith. He moves on to 29. It's a lovely cricket shot from Jamie Smith. 8 overs gone. Surrey 65 for 1. But it was interesting in that over, Laurie Evans, very experienced T20 player, just pushing that one down the ground and then picking up 2. Not trying to hit it too hard. But Jamie Smith here, I saw that shot a couple of times last night. He does have some lovely shots in his locker, Jamie Smith. He really does.
It was just touch play, wasn't it? Stroke play. He didn't try and overhit it. He just used the pace on the ball to guide it through the field. It's Mason Crane we still get to see. 5 men outside the circle. You got a deep square mid-wicket as Crane bowls. A long on. That's played. They're looking for 2 here. That's a nice shot. Scott Curry comes in quickly, but great running from Surrey again. They come back for 2. Evans will move to 8, 67 for 1. I think this is good batting from Surrey here, utilising that gap. There's no one in the ring in front of square on the leg side. 3 men in the ring on the offside. Extra cover, the backward point and short third. As Crane in again, bowls, and that's driven up to mid-on. They pick up a single. Evans will move to 9, 68 for 1.
I was saying to Mr. Abbott that this is what Surrey do at the Oval. Big boundaries, but you still have to work your angles out because obviously it's a totally different ground.
Crane in again, bowls. That's hit hard over extra cover. Fantastic shot by Smith. 1 bounce over the rope, and there's the boundary for the over. He just leant on that, and that lifted over Vince's head. Smith moves to 33.
He's in wonderful touch at the moment, Jamie Smith, and we've seen a couple of his favourite shots there. That little late cut down to third man, and then the inside out over extra cover for 4.
Effortless that as Crane into Smith, bowls, and that's driven up to mid-on this time. They think about 2, run that first one hard. James Fuller gets to the ball quickly. A fantastic outfielder is Fuller. Smith moves to 34, 73 for 1. He's got to be one of the best outfielders in your team, Carl.
He is one of the quickest, and he's got an excellent arm. We played a couple of pre-season warm-up games. I think he got 3 or 4 run-outs in the day. This Mason bowls, and it's swept. Short fine leg, does the fielding, and straight back, no run. We played a double header in one day, and I think he got 3 or 4 run-outs in that similar position, just herring in and picking up with one hand. He's a great athlete and an important player for Hampshire.
In comes Crane again from the pavilion end. Gives himself room, cuts that away. Darcy Short at cover, does the fielding. They think about 2. Bullet throw with his left arm, and score is 74 for 1, and that is 9 overs gone. What do you think's a par score here? They're both looking at me silently. No one wants to make a call.
I'll say 150.
I think I said in the power play, I think 160 will be a winning score.
You don't want to call it, Carl.
I don't want to call it too soon. They've got 9 wickets in the bank, but it just doesn't seem like a pitch at the moment that you can come in and just start playing your shots. So wickets are going to be crucial, and Hampshire are going to be continuously looking for wickets through this middle period to just try to slow that death down. As we see Darcy Short coming in here from the hotel end, which bowling his left arm bits of everything. He's got some wrong-ins, got some leggies. He'll probably start to take this away from the right-hander.
Well, his first one is pulled straight down the ground by Laurie Evans to James Fuller at long on, and now pick up a single. Evans moves on to 11. Your Darcy Short and your Fuller for Surrey will be Burns and Overton. They always do that sweeping. Ollie Pope will do a bit of that as well. Some great fielders on show tonight. As this one just skips on to Jamie Smith, who was laying back to have one of those lovely cuts of his, and it just skipped on to him. Nice bit of bowling that from Darcy Short. There's 75 for 1, Surrey in the 10th. Smith tucks this one down to short fine leg. I think that one just dipped on him at the last moment. Nice stuff this from Darcy Short.
It really is left arm bits of everything.
He is.
I
say that because I did some mitting to him in the first couple of T20s during warm-ups, and he's got a ball that's almost like a knuckleball, and I think it might have been that one that just swung as he goes away from us, and Evans sweeps out to deep square, and de Grandhomme does the fielding, sliding around, and one bounce into McManus over the stumps. But there's no disrespect. He's probably got 3 or 4 balls, and that one, I think, that went to short fine leg there. It's just he holds it back, and it gets a little bit of swing.
I think Cricinfo should change to left arm bits of everything on his profile. He's looking to cut here as Jamie Smith goes past his outside edge, and that's taken nice and tidily by Lewis McManus behind the stumps. 77 for 1. So far it has been a bit of everything. It's been very good so far as Darcy Short's in again, and well bowled. Pushed away by Jamie Smith out towards short extra cover. Good over from Darcy Short. 10 gone. A few words from Carl Abbott, and then Emily Windsor will be joined by Kevin James.
Yeah, what a brilliant little session there between the power play and the 10th over for Hampshire. Only going for 25 runs, 1 boundary. Hampshire have really pulled it back there after the power play. And I think if anything, they'll probably look for a couple more wickets, as I said, going into the last 10 overs here, just to slow the run rate down a little bit more, although it is only at 7.7 at the moment.
In comes Crane to Evans, gives himself room over extra cover again. That's hit up to mid-off, and Colin de Grandhomme takes the catch. He's just lifted that, almost given him a gift. It was like fielding practice. And Evans is gone for 12, 77 for 2. There was the wicket you were after, Carl. That was it.
It looked like he was just trying to replicate Jamie Smith's shot in the previous over from Mason, and just got it a little bit straight. He didn't quite get it over extra cover, just hitting it straight down Longoff's throat as Colin de Grandhomme takes a relatively simple catch in the end as Surrey lose their second wicket in 77 for 2.
Two catches for de Grandhomme.
Pardon?
2 catches for de Grandhomme.
It is, yes.
I'm impressed by the speed. The batter has just got to the crease here. I think it's Ollie Pope. It is Ollie Pope. He's out there already. He must have been itching, waiting to get out there.
Evans has just got to the 30-yard circle and he had passed them.
Is he practicing for the 100? They've got to be out quick for that, haven't they?
No, you got to go on the stage, I think.
Oh, yes. Like the swimmers, apparently.
So,
Kyle? Yeah.
Apparently
for the 100.
Really?
The batters, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say this publicly, but yeah, they come out like the swimmers do for finals, through an arch.
Oh wow.
All glitter and all that sort of stuff.
Got to get a pose on, Carl. What
Yeah.
would be your pose?
I'd have to think of something, a cartoon character.
You've got a ball to think on it, Carl. In comes Crane to Pope, and he uses his feet. That beats the fielder. They come through for a single. The Grand Homme does the fielding. Pope off the mark. First ball, 78 for 2.
Career best, Pope, yesterday in that one-run defeat against Glamorgan. Got 60. Amazing, isn't it, to think that that's only his highest score in this, Ollie Pope.
In comes Crane to Smith. That's driven out to mid-wicket. So they come through for a single. Quickly off the boundary there was the youngster Tom Prest. 79 for 2. Surrey.
Yeah, he's a fantastic ball striker, and especially playing at a ground like Surrey, which produces some very good batting tracks. It's very... as Mason's in, and Pope's turns that away into mid-wicket. Very strange that he has only got a score of that, considering where he does bat in white ball cricket. So yeah, I'm sure you'll look to capitalise here tonight, especially on a field that you have to run. It probably suits his game quite a bit.
In comes Crane to Smith, bowls, and that's an outside edge. They won't come through for a single there. That's well fielded by Joe Weatherly, a backward point. Dot ball. Crane's bowling nicely here. He's bowled 2.5 overs, 15 runs, and picked up the wicket of Laurie Evans earlier in this over.
Just gripped a little bit. Straightened.
Yep.
Few crowd in here today. There's Crane in again, bowls. That's him on the pad. He's appealing. Not out as the umpire pitched outside leg. What are we going?
I think it was going down leg. It looked like it was just sliding on, and with Ian Gould at that end, he's definitely made the right decision, Gunner.
He don't get many wrong, Gunner.
80 for 2, Surrey. 11 overs gone, 9 overs remain here at the Ageas Bowl.
So the batsman out so far, Will Jackson, the 6th over, caught by De Grandin off Curry for 28. The score then was 51 for 1. And Laurie Evans caught by De Grandin off Mason Crane for 12. That was in the 11th over, 77 for 2, the score there. Darcy Short, he hasn't bowled for actually the last few games, has he, Darcy? Well, he didn't bowl in the game at Somerset anyway, at Taunton. As that's almost caught and bowled, almost as it's played back to him. And Short, I think, was going to try and throw the stumps down at the bowler's end. And what's he doing? Is he saying I should have done, or is he? I hope he's not injured, is he? Took a while to get up off his knee.
Yeah,
well, it was on his hands on his knees anyway. Score remains on 80 for 2. He's bowling to Ollie Pope. De Grandin with the left arm over the wicket. Left arm leg breaks. That turns a fraction. Pope gives himself some room. Finds the gap in front of point. Goes out to a deepish area where Joe Weatherly comes in, and Surrey are 81 for 2. 2 balls into the 12th over. I'm still trying to get used to these sort of atmosphere of these T20s with this sort of crowd, as that's pushed out again to Weatherly out in the deep on the offside. 83. You feel there should be something more from the crowd, don't you?
It's actually quite quiet. When I was sat, obviously without the headphones on, and when there's not a boundary, it's really quiet without music.
Amazing, isn't it? It's what sort of 20 years of T20, and got used to the noise as comes down the wicket, does Pope, makes it into a full toss, hits it out towards deep mid-wicket. Prest comes in, does well, throws it one bounce to Lewis McManus at the far end, keeps it down to a single, and it's 84 for 2. It's just, you just feel there should be something else added to the applause and the odd sort of cheer.
Maybe the crowd's forgotten how to be a crowd because it's been so long.
Yes. How do you cheer? We forgot they have to go to classes, as that's pushed back to Darcy Short. Again, I think he was sort of angling to throw at the bowler's end, but he wouldn't do that because there's nobody backing up. 83 for 2, the score remains. We have 1 ball left of the 12th. Smith on strike, he's 37 off 29. Here comes Darcy Short again. That's swept nicely behind square on the leg side. Chases on here for Colin de Grandin. He can't get there. That's going for 4. Nicely timed by Smith. At the end of that over, 87 for 2, 41 for Smith.
What what point are we going to see Surrey go here? I think it's going to be quite a hard pitch to go, but the depth in their batting lineup, they're going to want to go hard at the Hampshire bowlers here.
Yeah, I would expect it to come pretty soon. But as you said, it doesn't seem like it's one of those wickets that you can come in and just sort of go from ball one. So they're going to have to be pretty clever, because you might actually end up getting blown out the water and losing 6 quick wickets and not getting to a competitive score after a pretty good start here. So yeah, if I was in Surrey's shoes now, I'd probably get, if these two batsmen run hard here, try to get the score to 100 by sort of 14, and in the last 6 really have a go and get yourself into a position where you probably can't get bowled out.
Scott Curry into the attack then from the pavilion end. Just the 1 over so far today, 6 runs and a wicket, so an impressive start as Curry into the right hand of Pope. That's short, that's pulled away, that splits the 2 men out on the rope. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 4, and he's timed that nicely. That is a man who scored some runs yesterday. He moves to 8, and that's 91 for 2.
Too short, wasn't it?
It was too short. I think maybe not too short. I think his line was just a little bit wrong. He's got the field set for it. Pope just sort of had to get some bat on it to get it into that gap between deep square and fine leg. But you can clearly see the plan here with the 3 men out on the leg side.
Curry to Pope, driven to mid-on. They come through for a quick single.
Just looking at that, that's probably the length he wants to be bowling there. That sort of belly button height with mid-on and mid-off up makes it incredibly difficult to go over the top, and then 3rd man and deep square. So definitely had the field right. I think just a little bit of execution there, getting a touch straight to Pope in that previous delivery.
92 for 2 here then Surrey. 12.2 overs gone as Curry bowls. That's pushed down to backward a point. Joe Weatherly does well there, diving to his left. Smith moves to 42. 93 for 2 now Surrey.
Joe Weatherly's off to Wimbledon tomorrow, he tells me.
Is he?
He is, yeah.
Ooh.
I told him I was busy, I couldn't make it anyway.
But would he invite you?
No.
That was a hint. Carl wanted to be invited but didn't get the invite. Who's trumped you for your place?
I think Lewis is going.
That's tough to take that, isn't it?
Well, I'll explain after this ball as Curry runs into Pope, and it's back of a length again, and he just nudges it into leg side. They're going to look for 2, but Mason Crane's quick, and they are coming back from 2. It's a good throw in, but Pope was very quick there. Well, I actually, at the beginning of the week, I hadn't seen him in a while, so I said, Joe, like a coffee? He goes, no, I'm busy today, I'm playing golf tomorrow. I was like, okay. I said, well, I'm free Thursday. He goes, I'm going to Wimbledon. So I sort of waited. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He goes, yeah. I said, no, I was busy Thursday anyway, so don't worry.
Perhaps he only had 1 ticket.
Curry into Pope, bowls. That's flicked away off his pads, out to deep square. Come through for a single.
Which court has he got? Do you know?
Oh, probably centre. I don't know.
Has he?
No, I didn't ask. Didn't have time for him after that.
Was it
actually said, yeah. I think my reply said, I'm done with you.
96 for 2. Just a bit of insight into relationships with players and not getting their Wimbledon tickets they want as Curry in. That's short and wide, but he's got away with that pace off, and they come through for a single.
I think that's the way we're going to see the Hampshire bowlers go towards the back end. Yeah, as we've said a few times tonight, big square boundaries, slowest pitch, anything short and gripping in the wicket seems really hard to hit square. As soon as it's up to the bat, we've seen a few down the ground and squirting past fine leg and 3rd man. So I think Scotty's bowled a brilliant over there, and we're going to see him used a bit more now towards the back end and probably bowling to a very similar plan as he had there.
Well, if he has got centre court tickets tomorrow, you'll see Coco Gauff. She's in action. Roger Federer. Cameron Norrie, who was a great game today. Cameron Norrie had today against one of the French guys. That's it in the air. It's over mid-off. That's 6 runs. Beautiful shot there from Jamie Smith. And that's hit the first row of the stands below us.
That was a big hit,
that was a biggie.
That was a big hit down here towards us. He's come down and he's got all of that.
100 runs up for Surrey. That's come up at the start of the 14th over. So that's if he's on centre court tomorrow. So that's not a bad lineup.
No doubt he will be on centre court.
Yeah, knowing Joe.
Yeah.
Sort of lucky, sort of like that, isn't he, really? Now that's down the leg side. That's swept, but to Chris Wood, who's on the 45. Good running by the Surrey pair out there. And that's his 50 for Jamie Smith. 34 balls with 6 fours and a 6. Continuing his good form in this competition.
Yeah, I feel like he's a danger man now for Surrey.
It certainly is. Here's Darcy Short again. That's a nice sweep, this time from off stump, and Tom Prest slides into that one at deep mid-wicket. And Ollie Pope in on the act here. He picks up a couple, and the Surrey total moves on to 106 for 2.
I think he now 50 off the 30 balls. He's obviously knows how this pitch is playing, and he seems to be timing the ball nicely. So dangerous for Hampshire.
Certainly is. That's a googly, isn't it? It's come off the outside edge there, Pope. He was just thinking about touching it on the leg side, and had to be very careful not closing the face of the bat too often. But he got it too much. But he got a leading edge out square, and that's a single. I'll tell you what, his other ticket might have gone to Hawkeye. That's why you weren't asked. The New Hampshire mascot, Hawkeye.
Yeah. Who
thought of that? As that's another ball which is just slightly turned away from the right-hander. This time Smith works it out on the onside. They're going to run 2. That's good running. 3 Hampshire fielders converging on that on the 30-yard circle, and neither of them could get there in time. Good running from the Surrey pair out there. 109, I think that is. Is it going to scoreboard on the move? No, it's 109. Yes, the New Hampshire mascot.
So you reckon he's taking the mascot?
I reckon he's taking Hawkeye. Yeah, I think you should have a word with him.
Oh no, I said I'm done.
We were introduced to the New Hampshire mascot, weren't we, before the game?
I'm done with him.
Oh, you do, yeah. Especially if it's you certainly have if he's going to be the mascot that he takes. And that's 2 backward points, and that's a quick single. He's going to keep the strike. And that is 110 for 2, 14 gone. Yeah, we've got rid of, apparently Rory the Lion has been binned, Harry the Hawk, he's been binned as well. We've now got Hawkeye.
Now we've got Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Do you like the change? Do you like going back to the Hawks, Jamo?
Honestly?
Yep.
I'm not actually bothered.
You know, funny you say that's interesting. From players, I mean, I've been around the team now for quite a long time. Have been asking to go back for ages. We just felt that Hampshire didn't really have much. I'd say much about them, but like we wanted a name of some sort, especially in there you hear Sussex Sharks, and
that's a good one.
And all sorts like that. So Birmingham Bears.
In comes Crane to Smith. Backs away, and he's hit that hard through mid-wicket. 2 fielders are coming round. Pressed. He does well. He gets a hand, stops the boundary, and they come back for 2.
Good fielding. What's the Birmingham Bear one then?
A bear.
The name.
Is it a bear? Oh.
Are you trying to be funny, Kev? Because that was a dad joke.
I don't know what it's called.
I thought you were asking for a name.
We were there on Saturday.
We were there. In comes Crane, and he's backed away, cuts. Joe Weatherly does well there, diving to his right, so it would just be a single. Smith moves to 56, 113 for 2. I saw the mascot. I saw him walking around the ground at Edgbaston.
We did. I'm just trying to work out what the name is. Somebody might know.
Nothing on the Hampshire Hawks,
Barry?
though.
Might be
Barry.
Crane to Pope. He's gone to reverses. Missed it. And that's a dot ball. Ollie.
Brummy thinks Carl, producer, in my ear. Yeah. I'm not sure it is, actually. No. What's the one at Kent? Is it Spitfire, isn't it?
The Spitfires, yeah.
Crane into the right-handed Pope. He uses his feet, hits that into the onside. They'll be looking for 2. Press comes in quickly, but Pope makes that 2 comfortably. Fantastic running again here from Surrey. Very clever batting. Boundaries are hard to come by, but they're manipulating the field well. 115 for 2. Pope moves to 17.
38 these two have put on already.
In comes Crane. Again to Pope. He swept hard this time. He's tried to split the